It's Friday night and I'm sitting on the couch watching a game of football, and I noticed my heart rate rising, and I realized my body is really stressed out at the moment. But it's Friday night. Why am I stressing? And the reason I'm stressing is because I'm watching this game that I have absolutely no control over. But I am paying a price. This stress that I'm having feels very similar to the stress I was having today at work. At work, at least I was getting paid. Here I'm supposed to be relaxing, being entertained, enjoying myself, but I'm in this stressful state. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I started realizing this just tonight. This all goes back to last year. Last year, I basically spent the majority of the year watching sports. I watched the Australian football competition, which spanned around 30 weeks with like 8 games a week. I watched the whole Formula 1 season and the whole MotoGP season. When you add all of that up, you have an incredible amount of screen time wasted on supporting a team that you have no control over. You don't get anything except for a little bit of satisfaction if your team wins. And if your team loses, you feel pain. The risk reward here is off. Now, what woke me up was actually last year, the team I wanted least to win the competition in football, being the Brisbane Broncos, they actually won the competition. The guy that I wanted least to win the Formula 1 championship, being Lando Norris, he won the championship. Marc Marquez won the MotoGP competition, who I was going for. But all of that year, I was cheering, hoping for these results, where the opposite result came. And I was left upset, disappointed, and I kind of felt ripped off because I had invested so much of my time into watching these guys go round and I got nothing out of it. What was the point of watching this? I remember on the weekends I'd be out with my girlfriend and we might be having lunch and I'd be rushing her to get home so we don't miss the start of a game. One game of 8 games on every weekend out of 26 rounds just to get to the finals. So many games I was rushing to watch and watched mindlessly that gave me very little return. Now, it's not just sports. I spend a lot of time watching Netflix. I spend majority of my time actually watching YouTube, which is kind of the same. At the end of the day, they're just entertainment. But I want to focus here on sports because sometimes you are learning with YouTube and sometimes you just want a bit of entertainment. But the thing with sports as opposed to Netflix is just a movie or a TV series where once it's done, it's done. Whereas the sports, they go for so long. It's the majority of the year and it's on during the weekend, the time where you need to be living. You work all week at this shitty job. On the weekend, you want to live your life a little bit. And so I came to this realization tonight when I was sitting on the couch and I felt my heart racing and I was urging the team I didn't want to score not to score. And I'm like, why? Why am I doing this? And I just turned the TV off. It's midway through the game and I'm like, I'm not doing this again. I want to control my life. I want to build something that I can look back on and be like, hey, I'm building this. What I do has some sort of return, something I can build on, something I can be proud of. Watching sports, if your team wins, who cares? You feel great. You brag to your friend. Your friend doesn't care. They don't really understand. Nobody really cares. It's not really an achievement. And I'm not gonna sit here and bash anyone who watches sports. Obviously, I'm a lifelong sports fan. Played a lot of sports growing up. But I've become too much of a consumer. And I want to switch to being a bit of a creator, where I'm putting something out into the world that people might be able to relate to, that they might be able to enjoy. But also just for me to kind of reflect on and look back on. It's like taking photos and going through your photo album. Just kind of want to document my thoughts and how I'm feeling. So what does this mean? Am I giving up watching sports? I don't think so. I do love Formula One. I'll continue to watch that. But I'm gonna try and deprioritize the amount that I was watching. With Formula One, I watched every practice session, every qualifying session. I'd watch the YouTube channels talking about Formula One. I'd watch the race. There's just too much. That's one sport. And then with the football, I'm watching most of the games on the weekend when I can. And during the week, I'm watching the footy show where they talk about it. And they got a footy show almost every night now. They are fully consuming your time. And it just makes me think, what am I getting for all of this consumption? And the return is absolutely nothing. And looking back on last year, I'm a little bit disappointed with myself, kind of a little bit disgusted that I wasted so much time. And honestly, the reason why I wasted so much time is I don't really know what else I can be doing with that time. What do you do on the weekend? I don't have a lot of hobbies. I go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. Going to the gym takes half an hour. You've still got the rest of your day. I'll go for a walk. Then what? So I'm kind of in this crisis now where I have a lot of time and I don't want to waste it, but I also am not quite sure where to redirect that energy. And so I'll start here with a simple blog of my thoughts to put them out there. I'm sure there must be many people experiencing this. And I've got to be honest, this isn't the first time I've gone through this. I do remember straight out of high school, about 15 years ago, maybe a little bit more, going through this same process where I realized, again, it must have been after my team lost and I sunk so much time into watching a season. I realized, what is the point of watching sports? You literally get nothing out of it. And I was out of watching sports for so long. I've got to say I didn't do a lot productive with that time, but I wasn't watching sports for so long until COVID hit. And COVID, when they made us all stay home and we could no longer socialize, that's when I got sucked back in. That's when I paid for a full sports subscription to watch all the bloody sports I could ever want. That's what sucked me back in. But that's been about, what has it been, 5 years now since COVID? 6 years? That's way too much. It's way too long. I'm disappointed it's taken me this long. And during COVID, you had nothing else to do, so I kind of get it. You weren't really allowed to leave your house. You weren't allowed to socialize. But it's just really disappointing. And I think I'm going to try and change. I'm going to try and stop watching as much sports as I did last year because it's just not worth it.